Before I went to Masada, I went to Holy Cross College in Ryde. And when I went there, I was bullied by roughly 70 out of 120 of my grade. So I said to my mum that I'd like to change school.
I didn't like to say that I was Jewish because there was a bit of anti-Semitism, and also coming from a European background, being born in the 60s and so on, it was sort of like I was taught to hide that I was Jewish. So growing up, I didn't feel proud. I was more sort of ashamed and scared to say that I was Jewish into my adult life. I had 2 children, and I didn't marry within the Jewish tradition because that wasn't a part of my life and I didn't understand at that level. As the boys grew up, the coping mechanisms weren't there, and I found that I was very confused as to my identity and who I was. Externally, everything looked perfect, the house, the car. However, internally, I got to a stage in my life where I really lost that connectedness.
I had one Jewish person that I know, but other than that, there hasn't been anyone that I know.
One day I was sitting in my office in North Sydney, and this man walked into the office and asked if there were Jews there. So I walked out, and all of a sudden I see this tall guy with a beard and the Hasidic hat and this beaming face, smiling face at me. And he said, "Hi, my name's Levi Green. Are you Jewish?" And I'm like, "Yes, who are you?" And he said, "I'm looking for Jews. I'm in this building looking for Jews." He was part of this institution called Chabad North Shore. And he said, "Look, we're having a shiur, story, every Wednesday in your building, and I'm inviting you to come along." And then he walked out, and it was just so weird. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go.
Before my mum started going to Chabad, I thought that Judaism was all fake and that there was no God.
And I went to this meeting the next Wednesday, and he said to me, "Simone, what does it mean for you to be a Jew?" And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "Oh, really? Oh, okay, tell me about that."
Now I think of a rabbi as someone that's easy to approach and as someone that can help people learn about Judaism in a different way compared to just a teacher.
I walked away and I thought, that was really interesting. It was very intellectual, and it was philosophical, and there was fun, and there was, sharing information, and I thought, I feel really inspired. I thought a Hasidic Jew didn't really speak about things, everyday things. I thought they were just praying all day long and were very strict, and this guy was laughing and full of passion and love and cracking jokes and this and the other. And then all of a sudden one day I got an email saying, "I'm going back to America." And I was shattered, to be honest. I was really sad, and I started crying, and I thought, what's this all about? After a month or so, I wrote to him and I said, "I really miss you. I really miss the stories and so on." And he said to me, "Why don't you go to the Chabad in the North Shore?"
The people at Chabad have been really warm and accepting, especially the programs that the Bochum have made to make me feel more accepted. I've been made to feel very welcome and to help me fit into the Jewish religion.
I rang up my dad and I said, "Have you heard of Chabad?" And he said, "Yeah, of course. I've heard the Chabad people are really nice. They're very accepting." So I went along, and I was brought into a place of understanding, of values, of Jewish life at a level that is incomprehensible. That day changed my whole life. The first day that I went to the Saturday service, the rabbi invited me to their house for lunch, and I met his wife, the Rebbetzin Fruma, and I was just really overwhelmed. They were so generous.
My mum had started going to Chabad and she suggested going to Masada. I feel privileged to go to a school with other Jews because I get a better perspective for religion compared to my last school.
What they do is they show you skills on how to have a life that's worth living, how to have a meaningful life with Jewish values, of course. And to each and every person, it's an individual perspective. My 12-year-old son is going to a Jewish school. He's about to do his bar mitzvah.
I feel excited to have my bar mitzvah because for me it's like a formal way of becoming a Jew. I do have a lot of questions, but they actually answer the questions instead of just putting them aside.
I've never felt so comfortable in a place where I don't know anybody. I've never felt so warm and that inviting feeling.
I feel so much happier now.
I wish I found Chabad 30 years ago.
I feel proud to be Jewish and I'm excited to learn more about my Judaism.
One day out of the blue, my son Hamish came up to me and he said, "Oh, Mama, shall I start wearing this now?" And I said, "What?" And he pulled out a Magen David that my mother had given to him when he was little. I think the work that Chabad does is really important for people like me and my son. It's enabled us to come back home.